Okay, welcome everybody. We are live here on LinkedIn and we are excited. I'm excited to have this conversation here with Melanie Seneviratne. Welcome to the show today. And so, yeah, we are excited to do a law firm efficiency workshop. And let me switch the slide. So I'll introduce myself first. I'm Kellsey. I've been doing websites and digital marketing and marketing for lawyers for 13 years now, and I am really excited to have on the show today my friend Melanie. So we are excited to go on a little journey together talking about efficiency for law firms. So yes, welcome to the show, Melanie. Can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure, no problem. So my name is Melanie, and I live in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And I basically started just my little background. So I worked in the nonprofit and corporate world for 25 plus years. I went to work at a law firm, and I managed a law firm for about 5.5 years. Over that time, I did everything administrative, from billing to finance to marketing, sales, you name it, I did it. Even did legal work as well. And then over 4 years of that time, quadrupled the revenue, grew the team. So when I decided I was ready to leave the firm, I started my own business so I could help other lawyers and business professionals to, make their firms and businesses more efficient, treat their firms like a business with processes, systems, and organization. So here I am. That's what I do now. So.
Okay. Yeah, so we are excited to go through this. So topics covered today. Do you want to go through this?
Sure. So we'll talk a little about how to go from a lawyer to a law firm leader, some of the top inefficiencies law firms face and how to fix them, building a scalable and profitable practice so that you can grow or achieve whatever your goals are, even if they're not financial. We'll talk a little bit about systems, delegating, and team structure, technology tools that can help to drive that efficiency, and things like automation, key metrics to track, including non-billable time, how to reclaim your time, focus on growth, and then we have a couple of free giveaways, which we will talk about a little bit later.
Next, stick to the end, and you will be able to get your free giveaways. We have a few things in store for the end of the webinar for you. And so should we go through them right now? Should we talk about what they are and then give them at the end?
Sure, sounds good. So basically, one of the two giveaways we have is a mini business assessment or law firm assessment. So usually when I do an assessment on a law firm, it's like a 3 to 4 hour deep dive with the whole team. A lot of the times, the people who are really in the trenches doing the work are the ones who really know where there might be issues and challenges and pain points. So I work with the whole team and, dive into all that intricacies, challenges, bottlenecks, and then provide a report afterwards. And with that report, there's the options of what you can do. You can hire me, or you can have somebody else, work off of these challenges to get them fixed. So what I'm offering today is a mini one. So basically it'll be about the same thing, but just shorten it down to an hour, and I'd just be meeting with, the law firm owner or the managing partner. So that's the business assessment that we're giving away. And then anybody can also access our law firm efficiency checklist. We'll talk about that a little bit more in detail later, but basically it covers off tips and things like about billing and client intake, document management, financial management, time management, and delegation, a little bit about marketing and client acquisition as well. That's Kelsey's forte. But and so you'll be able to go through those and, think of some of those questions and points in there to see if, do you have a documented process? And it's not just, this is how we do it. It's making sure it's written down so that people know, that it's there and it's supported by everybody in the team, and making sure too, of course, that your staff is following those processes. If you do all those things, you're like 80% ahead of the game of a lot of other business owners. So.
Oops, sorry. Great. Thank you.
Awesome.
Awesome. So and we also have So what inspired you to focus on the operational efficiency of law firms? And how did you quadruple that revenue that you were sharing about?
Okay. Well, I really learned about the value of systems and processes and how those things can make a law firm more efficient, run more efficiently, and help with the growth when things are running effectively. And I also, like, I saw challenges that came when you don't have processes and efficiency. And when a business owner can't let go, then, they tend to keep doing everything. So I definitely am aware of those challenges because I went through some of those at the law firm, before, during, and even after, before I left. And so when I left that law firm, like I said, I decided to start my own business because I really wanted to help other lawyers and business professionals to break through those challenges and, so they can focus on growth and achieving whatever their goals are, whether it's more money, it's more time with their family, or it's just having more time to go golfing or go traveling, right? So I really try to use my own experiences so that lawyers can see that I've been there and I can understand their struggles, right? And I do try to differentiate myself too from other coaches or consultants because I focus on implementing, not just me sitting there saying, hey, this is what you need to do, and here's a report. Now I want to help you to actually get those processes documented, work with your team, and, hopefully, implement them, roll them out so they're accepted with their team.
Right. So that's what you bring. It's not like a traditional, you bring something to the table that's outside of the traditional in-house roles.
Right,
That sounds
exactly.
like, yeah.
Yeah. And I coach, right? Part of it is coaching, but like I said, making it a little bit different because nobody wants to be like, oh, I'm going to pay however much money, learn about everything, and then be like, hey, this is what you need to do to fix it. And if you're a business owner that's already so slammed busy, then are you going to have the time to do it and to
Right.
make those changes to grow? So that's why I
Exactly.
try to be different, is jumping in and doing that with them. So.
Cool. Yeah, exactly. So in your opinion, like what is the biggest inefficiencies that law firms face?
One of the biggest things that I feel is an inefficiency is billing and collections. So, having structured processes and policies, many lawyers that I've coached don't have their process down, and cash is king, right? Especially given the regulations around trust accounting, it's imperative that firms need to have very strict, very followed by processes, which goes also to another inefficiency, which is generally cash flow management. When your money's coming in a certain, consistent time, you say you're a law firm that bills twice a month. When your money's coming in, and you need to ensure that it's set to cover the different areas that it needs to be covered in. For example, I've had clients that are like, oh, I can't do anything right now. I've got a $20,000 tax bill, as an example, right? And it's like, if you manage your cash flow properly, then you should have that money aside already. And I like to follow a lot of, as an example, the profit first methodology, which basically is you get your income in and you separate it into different bank accounts. One is for your profit, one is for taxes, one is for, say, payroll, and then the rest is your operating expenses that you use to manage your business. So those are probably the two biggest inefficiencies that I often see. The next one is client intake and sales, right? You can't have, if your legal team is working really well, but the process to get in from the marketing through to the sales part isn't efficient, then a lot of times the lawyers are the ones who are meeting with clients and they haven't even paid yet. They haven't even retained them. They're giving away their time for free. The lawyer's time is the most valuable time. And so helping to get processes set up where an intake, conflict checks, all that stuff is done by somebody that's not the lawyer. So those are probably the biggest, inefficiencies that I come across in law firms.
Great. And like what role does technology play when you're improving the efficiency? Are you using tools for that to automate any of those systems?
Yeah, a lot of law firms these days, they already have some type of case management software like Clio, Lawmatics, Cosmolex, or my case. Those are probably the four most common ones, or Leap actually, out there. And so first of all, if your tool is used properly, you can automate your billing. You can have, tasks that are assigned to different members of the team so that, you can have those flows set up properly. Even like with Lawmatics, you can do a lot of automation with templates, depending what type of firm you are. Like my corporate lawyer uses Lawmatics, and when I need a document, like it's sent to me through their program, so I can just fill it out. It's very automated, so that helps to save time with the legal team. But then when you're thinking about like billing, most of these programs have automation for sending their bills out or taking payments, charging credit cards, things like that. And then, as you know,
Can they
when it comes
even do
to
time tracking? Sorry to interrupt. Do they even do time tracking in the billable?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. And having a process that goes with the billing, right? Most of those systems all have time tracking capabilities so that the time is in there, and having that process where you can click a button, it generates the invoice, sends the invoice to the lawyer to review it, comes back, it's good, any changes are made, click a button and it's sent out, right? So it's definitely, a big time. It can be a big time consuming activity when it comes to billing. So making sure you're really using whichever program you use for the case management is huge. And then, like we talked about, or we've talked about, is marketing and intake is having, email sequences go out when somebody books a call, a lead comes in. So whether it's some of these programs have them built in, like Clio has a program, Lawmatics has, where you can set all of those email sequences up for your intake, to nurture a client, to, for marketing, all that stuff. So really just using there's so many tools out there, and there are ones that are not specific to law firms that can still be used. We used to use a CRM tool that wasn't one of those ones I listed, because it did what we needed it to do to keep track of our leads and, what stage they were at in the sales cycle. So
Yeah.
definitely lots of opportunities. And we haven't even talked about AI, the role of AI in all of this now, right?
Right. Exactly. It's changing everything.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be incorporating the team into using the tool is probably one of the most important ways to keep the team communicating. And
Mhm.
what other approaches do you have for building high performing teams at law firms? Do
Okay.
you have strategies or?
Well, you know what? Like, I think a lot of it goes to first starting with the right structure, making sure that what the different roles and responsibilities are of the people that you want in your team. Sometimes I get pulled in to help clients with that, like literally documenting out what does each position or person do, because sometimes you might have one person that is doing multiple things. So you have a legal assistant that's doing legal work, but they're also doing the billing, and maybe they're doing intake and answering the phones, depending on the size of the firm. As the firm gets bigger, the roles get more, designated out. But making sure you have that structure so that everyone doesn't do everything, right? And then building around that capacity and making sure that they know how they succeed. And that includes things like having, KPIs, right? Making sure people get clarity through systems and processes. I'm very big on having processes and documenting workflows and making sure that, you're not reinventing the wheel. You're being as efficient and productive with the processes that you're following, right? If a firm is running off of as an example, really paper-based, is there an opportunity to make everything digital and into the cloud, depending on what part of the business it is in, right? Or part of the law firm.
Right.
So go ahead.
Yeah, and delegation is probably having a comfortable system and a really detailed built out system would probably help with delegation with lawyers and like feeling comfortable delegating to their team and like letting go of certain things. I know sometimes for business owners that's a little bit of a challenge to like let go and let somebody do their part fully.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And, like removing bottlenecks and burnout is huge. And not just for the lawyer, but also for the staff, right? And one of the things I often see is that there's a little bit of a mindset block. And it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get help. And it's okay to get other people to do things. It may not be 100% perfect, but if it's 80% good, then that could be okay, right? It depends what the responsibility is, right? But people, any business owner, you need to trust in your team and others to help you grow, because that's what a lot of people are there to do, right? I often say to people, to lawyers, you've learned how to be a lawyer. You spent a lot of time and money to do that. You didn't necessarily learn how to run a business, all parts of a business. And that's okay, because that's why there's other people who specialize in those things, like me with operations and you with marketing, right?
Right. Right,
So,
exactly. So, and us collaborating to help lawyers together. And like, so what do you look for when you're hiring support staff or like other people for law firms?
right. Well, you know what? Like I said, getting clear on what success looks like in that role, having clearly defined responsibilities. And, the qualities often depend on the function, right? Like you want everybody on your team to be proactive, detail oriented, aligned with the firm's values and culture, right? So they fit well with the team and how the team works together. But then it goes differently by the type of role, whether it's in person or virtual, and whether it's say client facing or not. So, a client facing person needs to be empathetic, professional, you have strong communication skills. But maybe somebody that's internal in the background, they may not need to have all of those skills, but they need to have attention to detail and very job specific responsibilities, and like, marketing or legal assistant, paralegal responsibilities, and be reliable. And so those are some of the key qualities that I think you have to look for in the staff that you're hiring.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you find, what's the most rewarding part of this, of the fractional COO, and like, what keeps you motivated? And like, I can tell that there's passion with when you're talking.
Yeah, that's probably it. You know what? Like my thing is I really just want to help people. I I see the potential in so many people, and I see the challenges that they face. They tell me, but there's something in their mind that's blocking them. And so my goal is just to help as many people as I can and provide, those things. Like I said, depending what their goal is, right? Like, is their goal to make more money? Is their goal to spend more time with their family? Like I just met with a lady. I met her at a conference a couple weeks ago. She's in Toronto and she's pregnant. And we were talking about, some help, some things that she may need. And then all of a sudden she stands up and I'm like, oh, when are you due? And she's like, June. And I'm like, what's your plan? Like, how is your firm going to run when you have your baby? Right. And so, that started the whole conversation. And just my goal is just to make sure that those people can enjoy those parts of their life,
Yeah.
and still be happy and not be overwhelmed and stressed. So those
Yeah.
things really just motivate me to just keep on trekking along and helping as many lawyers as I can. So,
Yeah, exactly. Having balance, but also being able to perform. And then you perform even better if you have balance in the end.
right.
Right. So, so that's, yeah, it's great. Um, yeah. Is there any like misconceptions about the efficiency, operational efficiency that you run into ever?
Oh, yes, there is. So I think one of the biggest inefficiencies or misconceptions, I should say, is that people don't need help with their operations, because they think, okay, well, like if I use marketing as an example, or bookkeeping or accounting,
Mhm.
those are like, you need it and you're willing to pay and you're willing to do it, because marketing, you need marketing to grow.
Yeah.
And you need your bookkeeping, your books balanced, especially for the law society or the bar, right? So I think the biggest challenge that I have, or hurdles, is mindset, right? Like I've said, it's understanding that they don't have to do everything and wear all the hats is the
Right.
first thing that, is the common challenge that I come across when I talk to lawyers. And then I try to just help them identify, like, what is your biggest pain point? What are your goals? Like, what, would remove that stress or help your firm grow, and show them the value of getting the help that I can offer them and the solutions. So, getting processes and systems created and implemented, getting more organized so that they can, get their operations running the way that would be best for their firm. So
Absolutely.
it's really just mindset, just making them understand, because I have people that come to me all the time, like, I need to talk to you. And then, we go through it, and then there's a break somewhere where they just that, whether they don't
And they
want to
figure
let
it out.
let go of everything, or like I said, there's a big thing. I find a lot of people to have a scarcity mindset as opposed to an
Mhm.
abundancy mindset. They're not necessarily willing to take a risk,
Right.
or sometimes invest in the growth of their firm, right? The whole, you got to make money, you got to invest money to make money,
Make
right?
money. Yeah. Yeah. So for the people who watch this webinar today, like what would be one thing that they could do to like one small thing that somebody could do that who watched this, that can maybe apply something aside from signing up for the giveaway to get your little the checklist. Go through the
Well, the
checklist.
checklist will have will really get your mind thinking about,
Yeah,
am I doing all of these things, right?
right.
But, I think the biggest thing that I could say that somebody could do is probably just pick one process, one thing in your firm, and document it. So it may sound easier said than done, whether it's writing it out or doing a video or getting somebody on your team to do it. If you have somebody that's the legal assistant, let's say, who does all the billing for the clients, so task them with just writing it out step by step what they do, or doing a video or something like that. Even doing a video of like how to submit a document for filing. That's a process training right there. And just take one thing, and just one thing a week, and just write it out, and make it good, engage your team, I should say, because they're the ones who do it. They're the ones who know how it's done. One of the things that we often share, or I often share with some of my clients, is that you make it like a KPI, right? So if you're tracking your KPIs, metrics, and things like that for your staff, it's like once a month, once a week, whatever, create one process, whether it's a video, it's a checklist, something like that. So I think those are little things you can incorporate into your team to not make it seem overwhelming, to just get started with getting things just a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, totally. All right, let me pull up the slideshow again and get the giveaway on the screen. And so, and then I will ask you, yes, so we want them to scan this QR code to get entered in to get your checklist and be entered in for the mini business assessment giveaway. So what is the checklist and how does it help law firms identify areas for improvement? Can you just walk us through it a little bit?
Sure, absolutely. So the checklist basically includes 6 different tips with a bunch of questions in it that are basically like, are you doing this? Have you thought about this? Because every firm is different. So, I could say, oh, use Clio for this or use this for that, but that may not be what you do at your firm. And it's different depending on the size of the firm and the practice area. So there's tips, there's questions, and then, each section has basically one actionable tip, one thing that you could do within each of those 6 areas to start going in that right direction to be more efficient. And like I said earlier, go through those. And if you answered, one that you've documented everything that's in there and you have it written down and your staff is following those processes, you are like on your way, or you should already be super efficient. If not, you'll get there. But 80% of people, like I said, 80% of business owners spend over, I think it's 20 to 30% of their time, not more, on administrative stuff that they shouldn't be doing, right? So this is just going to help identify what those problems points may be so that you can figure out what your next step is to, what you need to work on.
That's great. Yeah, thank you for that. And
Yeah.
You can sign up for our newsletter. We send out weekly branding advice and exclusive offers through there. And I have one more giveaway, but where's the slide? Right here. The 50% off promo code on marketinglawyers.io. This website has Canva templates galore of every different bundle, branding bundle that you can possibly imagine for social media, like print assets and different cover images and everything you need to brand your law firm. And so if you want to use the code efficiency, you'll get 50% off. And yeah, so anything else you want to add today? follow us on LinkedIn.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much for everything, Kellsey. I really appreciate being able to share some tips for efficiency for lawyers out there. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So Melanie and I will hang out in the comments a little bit and check and see if there's anything there after the webinar goes live here or is up, and we can just DM. You can feel free to DM us. We will continue the conversation in there. And if there's any other ideas of webinars in the future that you'd like us to discuss more about, put that in the comments too, and we would love to do this again sometime.
Yes. Thank you so much. Everybody have a great day.
Yeah, have a great day. You too.